Can you believe it's been a decade since this came out? Yes, almost 50 years after it originally was released as an animated feature. Get ready when Rudyard Kipling's popular tale about a young boy named Mowgli who meets a few animal friends and comes across a vicious tiger came to life a decade ago in 2016. Here's my review of director Jon Favreau's take on Disney's The Jungle Book right now. Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. So, greetings, my fellow YouTubers, and welcome again to Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. I'm the Big D, and this time around I bring to you a review of the 2016 fantasy adventure flick The Jungle Book, released by Disney, directed by Jon Favreau, being a live-action photorealistically animated remake of the classic animated film The Same Name from 1967, which itself is loosely based on Rudyard Kipling's story collection of the same name. And the story was written by Justin Marks and features the voice and motion capture performances by Bill Murray, Ben Kingsley, Idris Elba, Lupita Nyong'o, Scarlett Johansson, Giancarlo Esposito, and Christopher Walken, and introducing Neel Sethi as Mowgli. The film was released on this day, April 15th, 2016, henceforth today's the film's 10th anniversary. Yes. After having success with the first two Iron Man films, Jon Favreau went on to tackle this film and what have you. It was a big success and what have you. With the Rotten Tomatoes critical consensus describing it as lovely to behold as it is engrossing to watch. Anyway, in amongst Disney's live action remakes, the film is the 8th most expensive and 5th highest grossing readaptation to this day. So let's get into the story. In the jungles of 1890s India, an orphan boy named Mowgli lives with and among a pack of wolves, led by Akela. One day during the dry season, the jungle animals gathered to drink the remaining water as part of an ancient truce. The gathering is disrupted by the murderous Bengal tiger known as Shere Khan, who threatens to kill the man cub at the end of the drought. After the drought ends, the wolves debate whether or not they should keep Mowgli, and he decides to leave the jungle for the safety of his family, and Bagheera, a black panther, volunteers to guide him to the nearby man village. Shere Khan ambushes the pair on their way to the man village, but Mowgli manages to escape by hiding amid a buffalo stampede caused by the tiger, and later encounters a seductive Indian python named Kaa who hypnotizes him. While under her influence, I'll get to that later, Mowgli sees a vision of his biological father being killed by Shere Khan while trying to protect him. She also explains that there is a mysterious light called the Red Flower that's fired to us, which brings destruction to anything it touches. Kaa attempts to devour Mowgli, but he is rescued by Baloo the bear. Mowgli retrieves honey for the bear as repayment and agrees to stay with him until the winter season arrives. Upon learning that Mowgli has left the jungle, Shere Khan kills Akela and threatens the pack to lure Mowgli out. Bagheera eventually finds Mowgli and Baloo and is incensed that Mowgli has not joined the humans. But Baloo calms him down and persuades both of them to sleep on it. During the night, Mowgli finds the herd of elephants gathered around a ditch and uses vines to save their baby. Baloo realizes that he cannot guarantee Mowgli's safety after learning that he is being targeted by Shere Khan, and reluctantly agrees to push Mowgli away to get him to continue onward to the man village. Mowgli is kidnapped by a gang of monkeys known as the Bandarlog, who take him to their leader, a deranged Gigantopithecus, sorry if I mispronounced that name, King Louie. Assuming that all humans can make fire, Louie offers Mowgli protection from Shere Khan in exchange for it. Baloo distracts King Louis while Bagheera tries to sneak Mowgli out, but their ruse is uncovered. Louis chases Mowgli through his temple and informs Mowgli of Akela's death by Shere Khan. Louis's rampage eventually causes his temple to collapse on top of him. Now for the final act and ending. As always, you know the procedure. You've got 5 seconds to stop this video at once. Go to the description box below and fast forward to the time below. As I count down now, if you've seen this movie already, which I'm sure a lot of you have, please continue. Okay, you've been warned. Furious that his friends neglected to tell him about Akela's death, Mowgli goes to confront Shere Khan himself. He steals a torch from the man village and heads back to the jungle, inadvertently starting a wildfire in the process. Shere Khan claims that Mowgli has made himself the enemy by causing the fire. Seeing the wolves' fear of him, Mowgli throws the torch into a river and proclaims his name to Shere Khan. Baloo, Bagheera, and the wolf pack hold off the tiger when he attacks, giving Mowgli enough time to flee into the burning jungle. Shere Khan overpowers all of them single-handedly and goes after Mowgli, who lures Shere Khan up a dead tree and onto a branch before repeatedly antagonizing, and insulting him. Enraged, Shere Khan lunges at Mowgli and swings who eventually swings to safety, Too heavy for his weight, the branch snaps and Khan falls to his death into the fire. Mowgli then directs the elephants to divert the river and put out the fire. In the aftermath, Mowgli decides to stay in the jungle as his real home and utilize his equipment and tricks for his own use, under the guardianship of Baloo and Bagheera. End of story. So, what did I think of the remake of The Jungle Book? Well, despite I was not quite that big on this at first, but after finally watching it a decade ago, it wasn't that bad. I know it's not a shot for shot remake, kind of like what happened with Favreau's take of The Lion King 3 years after this, but it was fine, what have you. Anyway, Favreau, along with Marx and producer Brigham Taylor, developed the film story as a balance between both the animated film and Rudyard Kipling's original works, borrowing elements from both into the film. And that I do appreciate. And yes, it is kind of a little more dark and what have you, but still it managed to do well. It became a commercial success, going on to make 966 million worldwide on its 175 to 177 million-dollar budget, and would go on to become the fifth highest grossing film of 2016. Eventually, it became a sleeper hit, and it briefly held the record for the biggest remake of all time until the studio's remake of Beauty and the Beast surpassed it the following year. Yep. Still, I will say it ended up being good and what have you. I finally took the time to revisit the film for the first time ever in years, and it's still not that bad and what have you. The film has good reviews. It's at 94% on Rotten Tomatoes, where they say, as lovely to behold as it is engrossing to watch, this is a rare remake that actually improves upon its predecessors, all while setting a new standard for CGI. Now, of course, there were other live-action takes of the Jungle Book. I I've only seen little bits of them, but not the whole film and what have you. On Metacritic, it has a score of 77, and the audience's poll by CinemaScore gave this an average grade of 8 of an A, while Post-Track report moviegoers gave it an overall positive score of 92%, and 97% of the audience gave the film an A or a B. And it got A's from both the under and over 25 crowd and A plus among those under 18 years of age and also for the over 50 audience. Todd McCarthy of The Hollywood Reporter wrote, exceptionally beautiful to behold and bolstered by a stellar vocal cast, this umpteenth film rendition of Rudyard Kipling's tales of young Mowgli's adventures amongst the creatures of the Indian jungle proves entirely engaging. even if it's ultimately lacking in subtext and thematic heft. Well, Andrew Barker of Variety felt that this can't rival the woolly looseness of the anime classic, of course, but it succeeds on its own so well that such comparisons are barely necessary. That's understandable. But anyway, and there are tons of others. There's just too many and what have you. Entertainment Weekly was, well, gave it good scores. So did The Guardians, Pierre Bradshaw, and Richard Roper as well. The film's visual effects and 3D photography were compared to those of films like Avatar, Gravity, Hugo, and Life of Pi. Yeah, so eventually this was not too bad. However, some reviewers criticized the inconsistent tone of the film and the director's indecision to stick to one vision. As Manola Dargis of the New York Times was less enthusiastic. Yeah. But anyway, it's fine, what have you. Not as bad as other Disney remakes, but at least this is one Disney remake I can rely on for what it had to offer. I mean, now I am nice to some of these films, but not to every one of them, as some of their last few ones have really left us cold. Well, some of us. And believe you me, that's understandable. Now, apparently, there have been talks about a sequel, but however, that's been on an indefinite hold. But anywho, yeah. Oh well. But anyway, I really do appreciate the film for what it had to offer. John Debney does the film's score, and it's exceptionally wonderful and what have you. Now, at this point, the voice acting cast is pretty good and what have you. Now, Bill Murray takes on the voice of Baloo. Well, I much like Phil Harris in the original, but still, I think he does a pretty decent job, so I won't really go against that. Well, Favreau had him in mind to voice the character since the beginning of the project. Said he was perfect. He just exudes all the charm and humor that you need to expect from him. Well, and he has a very high standard. And according to what Murray said, he said he just couldn't say no to playing the character. And John is a terrific storyteller and such a huge fan of the original stories. So that's understandable. Ben Kingsley, who recently appeared in Iron Man 3, voiced Bagheera, and I'm going to say he does a good job, almost as much as Sebastian Cabot in the original animated feature. I gotta give him credit. Idris Elba, who of course appeared in the Thor films. Yeah, that's right. This had numerous people from the MCU films because, of course, he played Heimdall in the Thor films. He voices Shere Khan, and I'm going to say he does a pretty good job on this and what have you. I mean, even though I really liked George Sanders' version in the animated film, but he does an exceptionally very good job. Lupita Nyong'o, who would later go on to appear in Black Panther, voices Raksha, a female Indian wolf, and is Mowgli's adoptive mother. So this was kind of a character that was pretty decent. And as for Aquila, he's voiced by Giancarlo Esposito. Now I remember that name. And he's pretty good. Christopher Walken does King Louis, and I've got to give him credit. He does an exceptionally good job. Well, he's nothing like Louis Prima though in the original, but still he provides a pretty good take on him. Let's see. We even have Gary Shandling, whom unfortunately this was released just right a month after he passed away, and he voices a character named Icky. Indian crested porcupine. Jon Favreau himself voices Fred a pygmy hawk, who is one of Baloo's neighbors. And Sam Raimi, director of the Spider-Man trilogy and the Evil Dead films, voices the giant squirrel, who is also one of Baloo's neighbors. Oh yes. And of course, Scarlett Johansson voiced Ka, which that was kind of a slight issue we still had with this film. I didn't quite feel much comfortable with her. It could have been better if it had been done by someone else. I mean, not that I have anything against. Well, I really don't want to get on the subject and cause controversy and what have you. So she's fine, but not great though. Believe me, I mean, I know they wanted to make this character just a bit darker, and that's understandable. Not as crazy as the original, which Sterling Holloway lent his voice. I mean, and his well, of course, Jim Cummings taking over his role in the Jungle Book too. Yeah, but she's fine. But the big surprise in the film is young Neel Sethi playing Mowgli. I must say, this time he plays a kid with lots of spunk, or should I say, a man cub with lots of spunk. I appreciated Seti's performance, and he does an amazingly wonderful job on his performance. Now we do get to hear just a little bit of some of the well, a couple of songs we hear and what have you. Well, from the film, like the Bare Necessities and I Want to Be Like You, which they're both good, not quite as good as the classics, but they come close though. So with everything said, the Jungle Book from 2016, I think this is probably the most decent of the Disney remakes and what have you. Sure, it's kind of a mix of two different things, the original and Mr. Kipling's stories, which makes it perfectly fine. What have you? So would I recommend you watch this? I'd say sure, go ahead, give it a shot. I think you'll enjoy it for what it has to offer, definitely. So what did you think of the Jungle Book from 2016? Let me know in the comment section below. If you like this video, consider clicking the like button, click the bell for notifications, and be a part of the Big D Nation. Continue to help support my channel, you know the rest, and join me later on tonight for a review of another film that has an anniversary, and that would be Rio. So if you like this, check out my reviews for these recent, some of these other films and what have you from Disney, but they're more like origin stories of two villains and what have you. In the upper left hand corner, check out my review of Maleficent with Angelina Jolie. Or go to the upper right hand corner, you can see my spoiler free review of Cruella with Emma Stone. Or if you'd like, go to the bottom left hand corner and see my review of the original 1967 classic, The Jungle Book. And the bottom right hand corner is the button you can click to subscribe if you like rankings and reviews on movies, TV, music, video games, etc. Then I'm your guy. Thank you for watching. Until next time, I'm the Big D saying, see ya.